What if I told you that the strongest people in history weren't born fearless? They built their courage one decision at a time. The men and women who stood unshaken in chaos, who faced humiliation, loss, and pain without flinching, they didn't possess a superpower. They practiced something ancient, something timeless. Stoicism. And today, you're going to learn 4 Stoic habits that can transform your mind into a shield, a fortress of unbreakable calm and focus. But before you dismiss this as just another motivational talk, think about this. The world you live in constantly attacks your peace through noise, comparison, deadlines, distractions, and fear of failure. The modern battlefield isn't fought with swords or armies anymore. It's fought inside your mind. The question is, are you armed for it? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled over the mightiest empire of his time, faced endless wars, betrayal, plague, and personal loss. Yet, his writings in Meditations are not cries of despair, but notes of serenity, reminders to himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the first clue to building your mental shield. Power begins where control begins. We spend so much of our energy trying to change the things we can't, while neglecting the one domain we truly command: our thoughts. Every time you react impulsively to criticism, every time you let someone's words ruin your day, you are handing over your inner fortress to someone else. Stoicism teaches that peace isn't found in escaping the storm. It's found in training yourself to remain still within it. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest thinkers, wrote countless letters advising his friend Lucilius on how to live well despite uncertainty. He warned that people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about how true that is for you who lives today. How many nights have you lost sleep over things that never even happened? How many times have you replayed worst-case scenarios in your head? That's the modern plague. Anxiety born from imaginary futures. The Stoic answer? Bring yourself back to the present moment. Do what you can with what you have right now. That's where your power lives. And then there's Epictetus, once a slave, later one of the greatest philosophers to ever live. He had every reason to be bitter, but instead he became unshakable. His teaching was simple yet profound. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the essence of the Stoic shield. When you stop trying to control everything outside you and master your response instead, life can no longer break you. It can only train you. You stop being the victim of circumstance and become the architect of your resilience. In this video, we'll dive into 4 powerful Stoic habits, timeless mental disciplines that can help you stand tall when life tries to knock you down. These habits will show you how to take control of your emotions, eliminate excuses, and rise above distraction and negativity. Each one is simple, but not easy. Because the truth is, greatness doesn't come from comfort, it comes from challenge. So stay until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll see that Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings, it's about mastering them. It's about living with purpose, courage, and calm in a world that constantly tests your strength. This is not philosophy for the classroom. It's philosophy for the battlefield of everyday life. The first Stoic habit is this: practice voluntary discomfort. Train your mind before life does it for you. Most people live in a constant chase for comfort, and in doing so, they become fragile without realizing it. The moment something doesn't go their way, a bad comment online, rejection, or failure, they break down because their minds have never been trained to endure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself, is this something that will make me weaker or stronger?" Every challenge, every small act of voluntary hardship builds a muscle inside you that most people will never develop: resilience. It's the same muscle that made the Stoics unshakable, and it's the one modern society tries to keep asleep through convenience. Think about this. The Stoics didn't seek pain, but they trained for it. Seneca used to practice sleeping on the floor once a month, eating the simplest food and wearing rough clothing. Not because he was poor, but because he wanted to remind himself that he could handle less. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" That habit gave him power, the power of immunity from fear. When you know you can endure loss, luxury loses its grip on you. And when you no longer fear discomfort, the world has nothing left to use against you. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who decided to take cold showers every morning for 30 days. At first, he hated it. The shock, the discomfort, the resistance. Everything in him screamed to stop. But by day 10, something changed. He realized that every time he faced that cold water, he was actually facing his own hesitation, his own mind telling him to stay safe, to stay soft. And by overcoming it, he began to trust himself more deeply than ever before. That's what Stoicism trains you to do, to confront your fears before life forces you to. Because when real hardship comes, it's too late to start building your armor. You must forge it now in small daily tests. Epictetus said it best, "Difficulties show a person's character." Voluntary discomfort doesn't just prepare you for pain, it reveals who you truly are beneath the noise of comfort. Try fasting once a week, waking up earlier than your body wants to, doing that one task you keep avoiding, or spending a day without your phone. These aren't punishments, they are lessons. Each one whispers the same truth. You are stronger than you think. When you push beyond what is easy, you reclaim your freedom from the world's control. You stop being a puppet pulled by fear and become the master of your mind. This habit doesn't just change how you handle struggle, it changes your relationship with life itself. You stop expecting things to be easy, and when they aren't, you remain calm. You stop complaining when plans fall apart, because deep down, you've practiced being okay with uncertainty. Imagine standing in the middle of chaos, bills, deadlines, noise, judgment, and feeling an unshakable stillness inside you. That's not luck, that's training. The same way soldiers train before battle, Stoics train before life. And when others panic, they breathe. When others give up, they act. That's the Stoic advantage. The ability to remain steady while the world trembles. So if you want to build your mental shield, begin here. Choose your discomfort before it chooses you. Don't wait for failure, rejection, or loss to test your strength. Test it yourself. Every time you do, you're telling your mind, "I am ready." You're reminding your soul that peace isn't the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of it. And the more you train this muscle, the less the world can hurt you. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, a mental rehearsal of everything that could go wrong so that, when it does, you are not surprised, but prepared. This is not pessimism, it's power. Because when you expect hardship and still choose peace, you become unstoppable. The second Stoic habit is this: control your response. Master emotion. Before emotion masters you. Every day, people lose battles not because the world defeated them, but because their own reactions did. Anger, fear, jealousy, frustration. They hijack the mind and make us say or do things that we later regret. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. True power is sitting back and observing things with logic." Think about how rare that is today. Someone cuts us off in traffic and we explode. A rude comment online and we spiral into self-doubt. A minor inconvenience and our entire mood collapses. The Stoics saw emotions not as enemies, but as signals, reminders that we've forgotten who's really in control. Picture this. You're in a heated argument and someone insults you. The impulse rises. Your heart beats faster, your voice gets louder, your mind crafts the perfect comeback. But imagine freezing that moment in time. What if you didn't respond from ego, but from awareness? What if you saw that insult for what it really was? Noise. That's what Marcus Aurelius did every day of his life. As emperor, surrounded by flatterers, critics, and schemers, he trained himself to respond, not react. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. That's not denial, it's discipline. Because when you master your response, you master reality itself. Epictetus, who knew suffering firsthand, taught his students that emotions aren't caused by events, but by our judgments about those events. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. The Stoic doesn't deny sadness, fear, or anger. They observe it. They stand apart from it, like a soldier watching a storm from behind a shield. They say, "This is anger. I feel it, but I don't have to become it." That tiny pause, that breath between emotion and reaction, is where freedom lives. Most people never find it because they're slaves to their impulses. Stoics train themselves to widen that gap until reason replaces reaction. Seneca gave us a simple test. When angry, count the cost. Every outburst steals something from you. Your peace, your energy, your focus. Think about the last time you lost your temper. Did it solve the problem, or just drain you? Emotional control isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about channeling energy toward what matters. Imagine treating emotions like waves at sea. You can't stop them from coming, but you can learn to surf them without drowning. This is where modern Stoicism becomes deeply practical. Next time you're criticized, instead of reacting defensively, ask, "Is this true?" If yes, improve. If no, ignore it. Either way, you win. There's a story from ancient Rome about a Stoic philosopher who was publicly mocked during a speech. Instead of reacting, he smiled and said, "If only you knew the rest of my faults, you would have found even better insults." That's the Stoic shield in action. Humor instead of hostility. Self-awareness instead of pride. Imagine what your life would look like if no insult could shake you, no rejection could define you, and no emotion could dictate your day. That's not a fantasy. It's training. It's the art of remembering that what others do is beyond your control, but how you respond is entirely within it. Start practicing this today. When something irritates you, pause. When someone disrespects you, observe. When life feels unfair, breathe. Don't let your emotions drive. Let them ride in the back seat. Write this down. I control my response. I decide what matters. Say it until your mind believes it. Because emotional control isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about refusing to be controlled by it. The Stoics weren't emotionless statues. They were warriors of the inner world. They bled, they cried, they suffered. But they never surrendered their peace. They turned emotion into motion, pain into power, and reaction into reflection. That's how they built their mental shields, and that's how you can build yours. The third Stoic habit is this: discipline your focus. Win the day by winning the moment. We live in the noisiest age in history. Every second, a notification buzzes, a message pops up, a video autoplays, and before we realize it, our attention, the most sacred currency we have, is spent. The Stoics, though they lived 2,000 years ago, understood something profound. Your focus determines your destiny. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, doing your duty with strict and simple dignity." That was his way of saying, be here, be now. Give this moment your full effort as if your entire life depended on it, because in many ways, it does. Seneca warned that it's not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it. He wasn't talking about social media or smartphones, but the same human tendency, distraction disguised as activity. We fill our time with busyness instead of purpose, comfort instead of progress. The Stoics believed that greatness was built in silence, through small, consistent actions repeated daily. Not in grand gestures, but in the discipline to do what matters even when no one is watching. Picture a blacksmith, hammering, shaping, refining. That's what focus does to the mind. Every distraction you resist is one more strike that sharpens your soul. Epictetus told his students to live as if they were on stage, performing before the gods. That doesn't mean acting for applause, it means acting with intention. Every move, every thought, every word must align with your values. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to the person I want to be? Because if not, it's pulling you further away. Discipline isn't about punishing yourself, it's about protecting your purpose. You can't build mental strength if your attention is constantly scattered. The Stoics practiced stillness not as meditation alone, but as a way of life, a focused, deliberate existence where nothing was done carelessly. Let's bring this into the modern world. Imagine a young man waking up and reaching for his phone before even opening his eyes. He scrolls for 30 minutes, checking who liked his post, what others are doing, what news he's missed. By the time he gets out of bed, his mind is already crowded with noise. Compare that to another man who wakes up, breathes deeply, writes down his goals, reads a page from Meditations, and begins his work. The difference between these two lives isn't luck, it's focus. The first man is a servant to the world's distractions. The second commands his mind like a Stoic soldier. Over time, that difference compounds into two entirely different destinies. Here's the Stoic practice. Every morning, decide what deserves your attention. And every night, review whether you stayed true to it. Marcus Aurelius did this daily. He wrote not for others, but to himself, reminders to live with purpose, to correct his mistakes, to focus on what matters. You can do the same. Write down 3 things each morning. What will I do today? What will I avoid? Who will I be? That's the Stoics' version of a battle plan. And throughout the day, guard your mind as you would guard a fortress. Don't let useless thoughts, gossip, or envy breach the walls. Remember, every thought is a seed, and what you water grows. Discipline of focus means learning to say no, not just to others, but to yourself. No to the urge to check your phone every 5 minutes. No to the excuse of "I'll start tomorrow." No to distractions that promise comfort but steal progress. The Stoics understood that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's the strength to do what's right, even when it's hard. Every time you choose action over distraction, you're telling your mind, "I am in charge." And over time, this habit becomes your armor. When the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions, our focus anchors you. Your calm becomes your rebellion. So win the moment, win the hour, win the day. Because when you master your attention, you master your life. The Stoics didn't preach endless motivation. They practiced consistency. They didn't chase inspiration. They built discipline. That's why their words still echo through the centuries. And that's how you too can build an unshakable mind in a chaotic world, one focused, disciplined day at a time. The 4th Stoic habit is this: reflect daily. Let go of what you can't control and be grateful for what you can. This is where the journey comes full circle. You've trained your mind through discomfort, mastered your emotions, and disciplined your focus. But all of it is incomplete without reflection. The Stoics believed that a day without reflection is a day unlived. Every evening, Marcus Aurelius would sit down with his journal and write about what he did well, what he failed to do, and how he could improve tomorrow. He wasn't seeking perfection. He was practicing awareness. Because only through awareness can we see where we've drifted off course, and only through gratitude can we return to peace. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, he wrote. That is the heart of Stoicism, to see each breath not as something owed, but as something gifted. In a world obsessed with more success, more money, more validation, gratitude becomes an act of rebellion. Seneca wrote, "He is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver, and silver as if they were earthenware." In other words, true wealth isn't in possession, but in perspective. Look around you. The air you breathe, the people you love, the lessons you've survived. These are treasures, and yet we overlook them, chasing illusions of control. We try to force life into our plans instead of flowing with what is. The Stoics call this amor fati, love of fate. Not passive acceptance, but joyful endurance. It means saying yes to every twist of the road, the heartbreak, the setbacks, the chaos, because each one shapes you into the person you're meant to become. When you stop fighting what you can't change, your energy returns to what you can, your attitude, your effort, your integrity. Epictetus taught that peace comes from aligning your will with the will of the universe. He said, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well." Imagine the calm of a person who truly lives this way, who no longer wastes a single drop of emotion on what lies beyond their control. A delayed flight, a harsh word, a lost opportunity, all met with quiet acceptance and steady purpose. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Because the ultimate freedom isn't changing the world, it's changing how you move within it. Let me paint you a picture. You're standing at the edge of a storm. The wind howls, the rain stings your face, and the sky cracks open. But inside you, there's stillness. You're not fighting the storm, you're observing it. You've built your mental shield brick by brick, through discomfort, discipline, and control. And now you realize, the storm was never your enemy, it was your teacher. Every challenge that once broke you was carving strength into your soul. Every failure was redirecting you. Every moment of pain was a whisper from the universe saying, "Grow." That's the Stoic path. Not to avoid hardship, but to use it, to rise again and again until calm becomes your natural state. So tonight, when the world goes quiet, take a few moments to reflect. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What tested me? What can I let go of? And then breathe. Let gratitude fill the space where frustration used to live. You don't need to control everything. You just need to control yourself. That's how you build the mental shield that no chaos can pierce. Because the truth is, Stoicism isn't about being emotionless, it's about being unbreakable. It's not about escaping life's weight, it's about carrying it with grace. The modern Stoic doesn't hide from the world, they walk through it with calm eyes and a strong heart. Remember the 4 habits: seek discomfort, master emotion, discipline focus, and reflect daily. Practice them long enough, and you'll notice something extraordinary. Life stops feeling like a storm to survive and starts feeling like a journey to experience. You'll move through each day with quiet confidence, not because everything is easy, but because you are ready. That's the reward of the Stoic path. Not a life without challenges, but a mind that meets them with peace. So the next time life pushes you to the edge, don't crumble. Stand tall, breathe deeply. And remember, the Stoics didn't just talk about strength, they lived it. And now, so can you.